শুরু করেছেন বা ওটা আপনি বললেন পরের দিন করাবেন।
I know, আমি করাবো। Please
ওকে স্যার।
don't worry, I'll cover that. So electrostatics, it's all about the charges are in static position. That means it's not moving. So a famous scientist Coulomb gave his law regarding this electrostatics. He said that if 2 point charges are there, Q1 and Q2, if 2 point charges are there, Q1 and Q2, then the force between them, the force between the point charges, if 2 point charges are there, Q1 and Q2, then their force existing between them, force existing between them is directly proportional to the product of the charge strength, that is q1 q2, and secondly it's the inverse to the distance, not distance, rather it's square of the distance between them. It is the Coulomb, famous scientist Coulomb gave this law. So if their distance of separation is r, and if their strength of charge is q1 coulomb and q2 coulomb, okay, then uh, force existing between these 2 point charges are q1 q2. It's directly proportional to the product of the charge strength and inversely proportional to the square of the distance existing between these two. So if you make them together, so it will be q1 q2 by r square, and if you take a equality constant, then let us say this is k into q by q1 q2 q1 q2 by r square. So what is the value of this k? It is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. 1 by 4 pi epsilon. 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Now epsilon is called permittivity. Epsilon is called permittivity of the medium. Permittivity of the medium. Epsilon is permittivity of the medium. It has got two parts. Epsilon naught and epsilon r. Epsilon naught is equal to 8.854 into 10 power minus 12, or it has got another value 1 upon 36 pi 1 upon 36 pi into 10 power minus 9. So it's called absolute permittivity. It's called absolute permittivity. It's called absolute permittivity. Permittivity. Now in the numeric problem, it is better to use this value. Sorry. It is better to use this value. Okay. 1 upon 36 pi. It is better to use this value into 10 to the power minus 9. Rather to avoid this one, 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12. The unit of epsilon naught is farad per meter. Unit of epsilon naught is farad per meter. And epsilon r is nothing but relative permittivity. It's relative permittivity, and it is equals to 1 for air. It is equals to 1 for air. Now in our discussion, practical discussion, we all mostly we encountered with air, so we always take epsilon r equals to 1. We always take epsilon r equals to 1. So this is all about epsilon. It is the permittivity of the medium. It is the special characteristics of dielectric medium. It is the special characteristics of dielectric medium. So this is all about Coulomb's law. So Coulomb's law states that if two point charges q1, q2 is separated by a distance r, and it has got a point charge strength q1 and q2, therefore the rule says, or the law says, this is the mathematical guiding formula to determine force existing between 2 point charges. It's the product of the charge strength divided by the square of the distance. So this is all about Coulomb's law. So is it okay? Any doubt?
স্যার রিলেটিভ পারমিবিলিটিটা আরেকবার স্যার বুঝিয়ে দিন।
It's not permeability, it is permittivity. You see,
Sorry, sir.
there are two similar terms. One term is permittivity, another term is permeability. It is permittivity, and another term is permeability. Okay. Permittivity is the medium or the characteristics of the dielectric medium. Okay. And permeability is the characteristics of magnetic material. Okay, characteristics of magnetic material. So one term, that is permittivity, is related to the dielectric, and permeability is related to the magnetic material. So it's two different terms altogether, although they are quite closed in hearing. Okay. So it has got two parts. Epsilon equal to epsilon naught epsilon r. So epsilon r we always take in as 1 for air, and epsilon naught is numerically equals to 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12 farad per meter, or 1 by 36 pi into 10 to the power minus 9 farad per meter. And I instructed or I advised you to choose this value while solving the numerical methods in numerical problems. Okay. So this is permeability. Similarly, if you say permeability, if you say there are one another term is called permeability. Permeability is it's closely hard means it's close enough to here. So it is represented by mu. Similarly, it has got also two terms, mu naught, mu r. Mu naught, mu r. Mu naught is called absolute permeability. Mu naught is called absolute permeability. Absolute permeability. Mu r is called relative permeability. So these are similar things. Okay. It's similar things. Epsilon mu r is equal to 1 for magnetic material. It's for 1 is equal, it's for magnetic material. In the next module, we will see. Okay, so let us come back to the Coulomb's law. It is all about the Coulomb's law. Okay, any doubt? Any doubt?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
So let us proceed further. So what will be the mathematical expression or mathematic? You see, it is given in this form as I mentioned here. Now you please concentrate on this figure. Let us say Q1. Is this visible? Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
So you see there are 2 point charges Q1 and Q2. And this is the origin. Origin is the reference point. Now F12 is the force acting away from Q2. For F21 is the force acting away from Q1. Okay. And R12 is the vector, distance vector. Okay. It's the distance between Q1 and Q2. Now you see the nomenclature F12, it is the force on Q2. It is force on Q2 due to charge Q1. So if I reproduce this diagram in this so let us, this is, we have one Q1, okay, and we have another Q2. They have got a particular location, okay. Now force on Q2 due to charge Q1, it is F12. Similarly, force on Q1 due to charge Q2 is equal to F21. This is the standard nomenclature. Distance between them is R12. Distance between them is R12. Now what we have considered additionally, we have considered our origin. We have considered our origin. Origin means it is the it's a reference point of measurement point of everything, reference of everything, origin. So let us say this vector is R1, this vector is R2. So this is all about. So if we write what is F12, then if we write what is F12, it is the product Q1 into Q2. It is the product Q1 by Q2. Now the distance square. Okay. Now the distance square. You have, in front 1k is there, which is constant, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. You know that. Now this distance will be a factor, and the radius or the unit vector, because force is a vector, so you must produce the unit vectors. Now you see this R12, what is R12 is all about? What is this R12 is all about? You see, in this diagram, you see R12 is, you see the direction, it is directed from 1 to 2. It is directed from 1 to 2. So it is basically R2 minus R1. It is basically R2 minus R1. Okay. Because if you see the triangle law, it is R1 plus R12 is equal to R2. So R12 is equal to R2 minus R1. Okay. So R12 basically it is R2 minus R1.
Sir, someone trying to joining.
Okay, R12 is R2 minus R1. So in the magnitude part, we write something that is R mod, whatever you know. It will come, it will matter of the, it's the magnitude part, but the direction is very key. It is unit vector between R1 to 2. So we refer this one as R12. This R12 is the suffix of A. R12 is the suffix of A. Okay. You see, R12 is the suffix of A. So we have this unit vector R, it's a square, and you must have this direction A R12 prime. Okay. Now in case of the reverse thing, what is F21? It will be just the reverse. It will be just the reverse. F21, it will just the reverse. Everything will same. First constant will come. First the constant will come. Then this term Q1 into Q2. Now the magnitude remains same. Now in this case, now it will become minus of A R21, because these two vectors are oppositely directed. This is the direction of AR12. AR12. However, this is the direction of AR21. So they are oppositely directed. So that is why it is a negative sign is written. So from there it is given, or it can be said that F12 is nothing but negative of F21. So everything is given in this note. Magnitude is remains same. However, the direction will remain opposite. Any doubt? Please ask me. So far I have discussed till this point. So I will share this note. This next part I will share this note with you. Any doubt?
No, sir. No, sir.
So next part we shall go to the suppose hello, are you there? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Suppose instead of having 2 point charges, we have got n number of point charges in space. So what will happen in this case? So let us say if we have more than 2 point charges in space, the force on a particular charge q due to the other charges, let us say there are k number of charges. This can be expressed as you see this expression q by q into q1 by 4 pi epsilon naught r1 square. Is everything is same, so it's the uh, superposition principle. You can calculate one by one. First term it tells you that charge force on charge q due to charge q1. Okay. The second term tells you that force on charge q due to charge q2. And accordingly you see the distances remains different, r1 square, r2 square, r3 square. So similarly if you go like this, the last charge, that is the kth charge, force on q due to charge qk is represented by this. So it's a matter of superposition principle. You calculate one by one and then add all of them. Okay, you add all of them. So what is the expression out of this? I must write it down. So force on charge q due to k number of charges. So let us say you see at this point, okay, let me write it down. q1 by 4 pi epsilon. Let us not write it right now. K over r1 square into a r1. This is the vector. Q second term is q2. The constant term k r2 square. A, it's a unit vector a r2. And if you go like this, so let us say if you have k number of charges, then it will be qk over k into rk square a, it's a unit vector a rk. So this is the expression. So now if common, you see q and k is common everywhere, q and k. So if you take q is common and k, you know 4 pi r 4 pi epsilon naught, you know it is 4 pi epsilon naught, then the expression will become we have got a summation sign from I to I from 1 to k. So it will be qk by rk square into a rk prime. So this is the compact form, that is the force on charge q, force on charge q due to k number of charges. Okay, due to k number of charges. So this is the expression. Any doubt? So it's a matter of superposition principle. You apply superposition principle and you get the total response. Okay, is it clear? So if this is okay, then from there we will shortly see a new concept, that is we will define force per unit charge. We will define a new term that is called force per unit charge. It's called electric field intensity or electric field strength. It's very, very important. Force per unit charge is called electric field intensity or electric field strength. Right? So if the force per unit charge is electric field strength, so from this expression, what will be the force per unit charge? What will be the force per unit charge? It will be F by Q. Symbolically, we retain as this one as E, that is the electric field intensity or electric field strength. So force per unit charge, so that will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, that multiplied with this term. I is equal to 1. It's from 1 to k. Qk over rk square So this is the formula for electric field intensity. It's a very important concept. So it's the force per unit charge. It is the force per unit charge. Any doubt? These two are the very important expression. So now let us solve a numeric problem. Okay, let us solve a numeric problem. You please go through the statement of this problem. Point charge, there are 2 point charges, 1 millicoulomb. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Point charges, there are 2 point charges, 1 millicoulomb and minus 2 millicoulomb. And their locations are given. It's 1 millicoulomb charge is located at 321 minus 1 position. And minus 2 millicoulomb charge is located at -1, -1, 4. This position. respectively. Okay, so let us draw this diagram. So this is the position of Q1. This is the position of Q1. It is located at 3, 2, minus 1. 3, 2, minus 1. And the second Q2, its position is minus 1, minus 1, 4. Okay. So the next statement is that calculate the electric force on a 10 nanocoulomb charge. Calculate the electric force on a 10 nanocoulomb charge. So let us say this is the 10 nanocoulomb charge. 10 nanocoulomb charge located at 031. So this is the position. It is located at 031. And also the electric field intensity at that point. Also the electric field intensity at that point. Okay. So you need to calculate force and electric field intensity at you need to calculate these 2 points, these 2 parameters on this point due to charge Q1 and Q2. Due to charge Q1 and Q2. Let us say this is R1. And let us say this is R2. So now let you calculate what is R1. R1 is 0 minus 3 AX cap plus 3 minus 2 AY cap plus 1 minus minus 1 1 minus minus 1 1 minus minus 1 AZ cap you see this is not 7, this is not 7, this is basically bracket used over here. This is basically bracket used. It is minus 1. Is a bracket like this is used. Okay, it's not 7. So it is equals to minus 3AX cap plus AY cap plus 2AZ cap. So what is the magnitude of R1? Minus 3 square plus 1 square plus 2 square. So 9 at 10, 10, 10, 4, root 14. So this is the R1 magnitude. And what is the unit vector? You know, unit vector is nothing but is the vector itself divided by its magnitude. So minus 3x cap plus ay cap plus 2az cap divided by root 14. So it is the itself direction. Okay, this is AR1 cap. Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
R2 is similar nature. So I am writing it directly. So it will be ax cap plus ax cap plus 3 minus minus 1, so 4ay cap plus 1 minus 4, so it will be minus 3 az cap. So it's a magnitude is 16, 17, 9, 26, root under 26, and its unit vector is ax cap plus 4ay cap minus 3az cap by root 26. So it is all about the distances. Now you directly substitute what is f. F is, you know, let me use another color. F, you know, it is q by 4 pi epsilon naught. So what is q? Q is 10 nanocoulomb. So q is 10 nanocoulomb. So 10 into 10 to the power minus 9 by 4 pi into epsilon naught. Now you see, if you say epsilon naught, it will be 1 by 10 to the power minus 9 by 36 pi. So I have told you to use this. So this part is okay. So what you see this, the use by using this value, you see the advantage. 1 by 36 pi into 10 to the power minus 9. You see this 4 pi gets cancelled, so it will be 9, and this 10 to the power minus 9, 10 to the power minus 9 gets cancelled. So ultimately it will yield 90. It will yield 90. Okay. So now within the bracket it will be k1 by k1. So what is k1? What is k1? K1 is 1 millicoulomb. So 1 millicoulomb. So 1 into 10 to the power minus 3 divided by distance. What is the distance calculated? Is root 14. So I am writing it 14 into 3 to the power 2. Why I am telling you in a moment, and the it's minus 3x cap plus ay plus 2az plus ay plus ay plus 2az. You see, in this numerator, this vector, we have one root 14 here, and we have r1 squared. So we have one r1 squared. So we have one r1 magnitude square. So for that we are yielding 14, and due to this factor we are again one yielding root 14. So if you multiply these two, it will be 14 to the power 3 by 2. That is why it is 3 by 2 written. And the second term, the second charge is minus 2 millicoulomb. So it will be minus 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. So similarly, distance calculated 26. So distance become 26 to the power 3 by 2. And the vector, it's become ax cap plus 4ay cap plus 2az cap. So this is the altogether, it is the expression. Let me set it completely. So if you please go through this expression, even if tell me if there is any problem is not. Please go through this expression and tell me. So it is a matter of it's the application of superposition principle.
So ওটা minus 3az হতো না?
Which one?
So second term ax plus 4ay
Minus 3x.
az এর স্যার ওটা স্যার ওটা।
Oh, minus 3 হবে, right. ঠিক। So it is ay (4ay) minus 3az. Okay. This is y. I think now it looks fine. So this is the expression for you. Right? Any doubt? So if you ultimately solve this, see the exact expression is written here. Okay, exact expression is written here. So if you ultimately solve this, it will give in as this result will come minus 6.507. F will coming as, this will be the result, minus 6.507 ax cap then minus 3.817 minus 3.817 AY cap then plus 7.506 AZ cap. So this will be the result. This will be the answer, and the unit will be millinewton. Now, if you divide this with this charge, force per unit charge, that means you need to divide this expression with this 10 nanocoulomb. So the result will come in this. Again, you see the electric field intensity, force per unit charge. So whatever be this expression, you need to divide it with 10 nanocoulomb charge. Okay. So the resulting expression will be this, and unit must be kilovolt per meter. I am not writing this anymore. So this is a problem for you on Coulomb's law and electric field intensity. So if you have any doubt, you can please ask me. Just this expression, it's divided by 10 nanocoulomb charge. This is millinewton, that is why 110 to the power minus 3 has been multiplied with this, divided by 10 nanocoulomb. And the resulting answer will be this. So I am giving you 1 or 2 minutes break. You please go through and please ask me if there is any question. So should we proceed?
Yes, sir.
So our next topic is electric flux density. So once you have gone through, once you have introduced electric force, from there, force per unit charge, which is basically electric field intensity. Now we are in a position to introduce another means another parameter or another new concept, that is electric flux density. Electric flux density. It is the electric flux per unit area passing through. It is defined as the electric flux passing through per unit area. Okay. So you can understand that electric flux density is D. Okay. It's given by electric flux per unit area. So it's the electric flux passing per unit area. So if you consider area, then through that area how much flux is passing through, that is the definition of flux density. So it is total flux passing divided by unit area. So it is the new parameter or new quantity. It's the electric flux density. Its the unit will be coulomb per meter square. Coulomb per meter square. Because area you can understand it's meter square or square meter, but flux or charge, whatever it may be, their unit is coulomb. Their unit is coulomb. Okay. So if it's a straightforward definition, the flux density, electric flux density D, it is the flux per unit area, unit is coulomb per meter square. So now we are in a position to discuss Gauss law. Very, very important. We are in a position to discuss Gauss law. The statement of the Gauss law is the net flux passing through a surface. I am writing the statement of the Gauss law. The net flux passing through a surface is equal to the net charge enclosed Hello.
Yes sir, yes sir.
What was there happened?
স্যার আপনি যেটা লিখছিলেন স্যার ওটা অন্য কোনো চলে এসেছে। স্যার ওটা ক্লিয়ার হয়ে গেছে স্যার ওটা।
Sorry for that. So Gauss law, the statement it says the flux or the net flux rather, the net flux passing through a closed surface is equal to the net charge enclosed within that surface. This is the statement of Gauss law. It's very important. This is the statement of Gauss's law. Let me tell you one by one what is the meaning of this statement. So the first part of this theorem or law, maybe whatever it may be, it says that the net flux passing through a closed surface. Okay. So net flux passing through a closed surface, we symbolize that as psi net. And the second part is equal to it says the net charge enclosed. So that part is symbolized as net charge enclosed. It's symbolized as QENC. So this is the statement of the Gauss law. Psi net is equal to QENC. Net for net flux and ENC for enclosed. Okay. This is the statement, mathematical statement. Now what is this all about? Psi net, QN circle. Suppose we have a surface like this. Let us we have a surface like this. The shaded region, we have a surface like this. Okay. It has some definite area, no doubt. Okay. So let us say okay, let me am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So let me give you an example. What do you mean by psi net? Suppose this is a wall. Okay, suppose this is a wall of your room. You have a window present. Now some food is cooking or is being cooked inside your room. Suppose biryani. Inside your room, suppose biryani is being cooked. Okay, suppose inside your room biryani is being cooked. Okay. And just beside your window, suppose person uh, some person some person has poured all the dirty things. Some person has poured all the dirty things. Okay, as some due to that dirty object, some bad fragrance is coming. Some bad fragrance is coming. Okay. So now you can understand one thing that a man is walking along the road which is outside of your window. That man or that person will experience two uh, means two fragrance at the same time. He will observe this dirty fragrance. Also, he will observe this biryani scent. Right? Agree? Agree or
Yes, sir.
not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Similarly, you sitting in your home, you will observe this biryani scent as well as this dirty scent. Agree? So what is the main reason is that you see this flak, you can say this the biryani smell or dirty smell. It's the wave. If you can treat them as a wave. Okay. So these flux of wave is going through the surface. The biryani scent, which is treated by or marked by red, it's going outside in this fashion, and this dirty object, that is the fragrance of dirty object, is coming home through that surface. So you see one kind of flux or this wave of flux is going outside, which you treat as positive flux, which we treat as positive flux, and some other kind of or some source of some other fragrance is coming inside, or it's coming inside to your room, which you can treat that one as a negative flux. Okay, so both are, you see, both are penetrating the wall, or both are penetrating some surface areas. So net flux is, you can observe that you are observing at sitting in your home room, you are observing some biryani flux, maybe it's a 10 unit, minus of that some dirty flux, let us say 2. So net, you are observing 8 unit of flux, 8 unit of good flux, or 8 unit of good fragrance. Similarly, uh, the person is walking through that road, he is feeling a 5 unit of bad flux and 1 unit of good flux. So he is feeling 4 unit of bad flux or 4 unit of bad fragrance. So that is the meaning of this term net flux. So whatever be the in your room, suppose you are sitting at a room, sorry, am I visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Suppose I am sitting at this room, okay, I am sitting at this room, and some source of fragrance is there. It may be perfume, it may be mastics, it may be some cooking food, whatever it may be. So suppose we have some source of fragrance or source of wave, maybe, and it will diverge throughout the room. It will diverge throughout the room, and some portion of it will penetrate through this wall. We have 6 walls, or maybe we have 4 walls. And if you include roof and floor, we have 6 walls or 6 surfaces, most importantly, technically, if you are speaking. So some amount of those fragrance, some amount of this flux wave will penetrate through those walls, and it will go out outside. And similarly, uh, some source of fragrance situated outside of that room may come inside in the same way. So what will be the net flux? What will be the net flux crossing through that surface? It is basically, it's the difference between two. It is the going outside minus coming inside. It's like that. It's understood, the concept of net flux.
Okay, sir.
Everybody? Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Are you okay with the concept of the net flux? Okay. Now can you tell me who create flux? Means in electrostatics, who create flux? Can you tell me who create flux? Any answer? Who create flux? Any answer? Who create flux?
Charge, sir.
Yes, charge. Very good, charge. So we have some amount of flux present inside this room. Okay. So I am sitting in this room. Suppose some flux is generating inside that room. So who will generate that flux? That charge will generate that flux. Okay. So it is basically, uh, let me go back to our discussion. Yes, is the charge enclosed. So enclosed means inside that room the net amount of charge present is the charge enclosed. Okay, charge enclosed within that surface. It's very important. Within that surface. So whatever charge present inside that room, whatever charge present inside that room, that will be our Q enclosed. ENC means enclosed. Now, what will now is it okay this statement? So basically, the enclosed amount of charge will create the net flux. This is the statement of Gauss law. Enclosed amount of charge will create the net flux. Is it okay this statement? Everybody? So now you tell me, how do you measure flux? Suppose this is a area A or maybe DS, differential area DS. So through that surface, some flux is going out, psi net. So how do you measure this psi? Any idea? Any idea?
Phi is equal to ds into A.
Psi is equal to ds into,
ds
I
into A,
have not heard you.
area.
Area is ds. It's the differential area. It is the ds. Anything else? Any answer? You are close. You are on the right track.
Electric flux density into ds.
Yes, yes. Electric flux density into ds. So basically, mathematically, psi net is equal to d dot ds. D dot ds. D dot ds. And you must take the surface integral over a closed surface. Over a closed surface. So this is the expression for psi net. That will be equal to q encircled or q enclosed. Okay. So flux density you can measure, area you can measure. So if you multiply these two, you can able to evaluate psi net, the net amount of flux. Agree? So if this is okay with you, now you tell me what will be the, means how do you measure the net enclosed charge within that room? Any idea? I am sitting in that room, or you can cite an example of yours as well. So you are sitting at that room. So what will be the net charge present in this room? Suppose in this room it has got some volume, length, breadth, height. You can multiply them, you get volume. So inside that three-dimensional room, what will be the net amount of charge present? How do you calculate? Any idea? Any idea? Anybody? Please, at least try. One person, one student, you can try. Nobody? So let us say we define another term, that is rho v. So it is also a type of density. It is called volume charge density. Rho v is called volume charge density. If you multiply this volume charge density with dV, then it will be, it is a triple integration. It's a volume integration dV. It's a rho v into dV. So altogether, what we have seen that the compact expression for the Gauss law is the surface integral of d dot ds, surface integral of d dot ds, that will be equal to volume integration of rho v dV. Okay, so that will be equal to charge enclosed. So rho v dV, it is the expression. So this is the mathematical formula. Now, do you remember Gauss divergence theorem? Do you remember Gauss divergence theorem? Anybody? Anybody can tell me what is Gauss divergence theorem? Surface integral of any vector. Surface integral of any vector. Suppose a vector is A. Suppose a vector is A. The surface integral of that vector of a closed surface, that will be equal to volume integral of that divergence of that vector. This is the Gauss divergence theorem. This was the Gauss divergence theorem. So A dot ds, it is the surface integral of any vector A, that will be equal to the divergence of that vector, and the resulting that thing, you must take it the volume integral. So you can take, if you apply the Gauss divergence theorem here, then this expression will become del dot d dv, del dot d dv, the volume integral, that will be equal to rho v dv. That will be equal to rho v dv. So from there, if you compare, you can directly write del dot d is equal to rho v. Del dot d is equal to rho v. Very, very important relation. Del dot d is equal to rho v. It's a very, very important relation. It's very, very important relation. This is called integral form of Gauss's law. It is called integral form of Gauss's law because it involves integration. Integral form of Gauss's law, and you can say, or you can understand, or you can guess what is this called. It is called differential form of Gauss's law because it involves derivatives. Differential form of Gauss's law. So these expressions are very important. Now you can understand. I must mention here that how means what means why this divergence term comes. Why this divergence term comes? What is the relevancy of this divergence theorem with this Gauss law? The reason is, you see, when I have cited just the biryani example, or maybe any other pudding item or any other source of fragrance, you see, whatever be the source, it is, you see, it is diverging throughout the room. Diverging means it is spreading. Diverging means it is spreading. So that is the main concept comes, divergence. So it is the spreading. It is the from a particular point source, it is spreading throughout the wall, and perhaps some fraction of it or some portion of it will penetrate outside of the room through the surfaces. So that is the meaning, or that is the term, or that is the reason this divergence come, and that is the relevancy of this Gauss divergence theorem in this aspect. Okay. So I am leaving here. I am keeping it till here today. So if you have any question, please ask me. I am giving you 1 or 2 minutes time. If you have any question, you can ask me on this Gauss law. You see, if you see this note, I will share it shortly. You see, everything is given here. You see, this expression is called integral form. Equation 1 is called integral form. And equation 3 is called differential form. Everything is written. So you must go through this topic. So I am stopping here. I hope.
Yes, yes, the PDF pattern.
And surely I will send it.
স্যার অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটা কি স্যার চ্যাট বক্সে দিয়ে দেবো কি স্যার অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটা কিভাবে হবে?
Are you new in this class?
নো স্যার।
So you should not ask me this type of question.
ওকে স্যার।
Thank you.
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Thank you. I am leaving. Okay.